I've started something new. I've started doing live sessions on Thursday mornings. One question that seems to come up a lot is, how do I let go of control? How am I able to play? I kind of gave a flippant answer. I realized I was like, I guess it's just my personality. In that live session, someone mentioned that she needed a lobotomy to paint freely without control. And I laughed, but thinking about it, she's kind of right. In a way, you kind of need a virtual lobotomy. You need to shut off a certain part of your brain to be in that flow state. As kids, we don't really have that critical part of the brain developed as much as we do as adults. How do we turn that off? How do we switch that off and become just like free, childlike painters? How do we turn off that critical side of the brain without giving ourselves a lobotomy? And the answer really is just, sounds easy, sounds fun, but as we all know, it's not easy to play as an adult. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit today, how we as adults can learn how to let go of control and play. Okay, so play. That sounds all fine and dandy, but how as adults do we play? You know, maybe I have a more playful personality or something about my upbringing. A lot of people were bringing up childhood trauma, and I think everybody has childhood trauma, some more than others, obviously, but most of you here enjoy in some form or another creating, and that's why you're here. That's why you want to paint. But there's that frustration, that fear that gets in the way. But a little fear and a little frustration is actually good. It's what motivates us. Have you ever gotten so good at something, you're so good at it that you can do it with your eyes closed and it becomes boring? That's not what we want here. We want a little frisson. In my live sessions on Thursdays, if you can watch the replays, you'll see I don't really care about the outcome. A lot of those pieces don't end up very good, but that's really not the point. The point is that I'm trying to share with you my techniques. I'm sharing with you some of the supplies that I like to use. And I've had people ask me as well, what are you doing? How are you moving forward? Do you have a plan? I really don't. I have no plan at all. It's really, I'm acting on instinct and intuition. Some abstract teachers do teach you to have a plan from beginning to end. I've taken classes where you figure out your composition, you figure out kind of what you want it to look like, you sketch it out on the canvas, and then you paint it. But I come more from the Nicholas Wilton school of thought, which is to let your instinct guide you. And how do you encourage your intuition? How do you set yourself up for success? How do you regress to become more childlike so that you can paint more freely? We want to form new pathways in our brain. We want to create new neural connections that associate our craft, this passion that we have for art, with enjoyment. Because I think a lot of the critique gets in the way, and it just can be this big rain cloud that comes in. It ruins all the fun. You have all these great colors, these brand new sketchbooks, and you're frozen with indecision, with fear, with that self-critic. And what we want to do is we want to clear that all away and set ourselves up for a successful and fun and playful painting career, essentially. So let's think about kids for a second. How kids play. Kids can play pretty much anywhere. They can play under a sink and put a sheet over it and they're in a cave, or they can crawl on their hands and knees and eat goldfish off a plate and pretend that they're dogs and cats. I think to recreate that, I had to sort of work backwards to figure out how I do it. Obviously, I'm not analyzing that when I'm doing, I'm just doing. And I think there's a lot of advice out there. It's just do it, just do it. Doing, it's the doing. And I totally agree with that, but there's also other ways to set yourself up for success. Because if you don't want to do, then you can't be doing. Set yourself up with a nice space. It doesn't have to be a big space, but it has to be your space. And you have to be able to have time there for yourself. It can be the kitchen counter, it can be a little office, it can be a desk, it can be a dining room table, it can be your studio. When my spaces get messy and disorganized, I just don't feel like going there. So if you take the effort and a little bit of time to clean up those spaces and organize them, Marie Kondo them, then every time you come back to that space, you're creating that neural pathway that it's an enjoyable experience. It's an enjoyable place to be. This goes into something else that I realized that I do, which has to do with using my senses, all of my senses. So having the space around me feel good. I love to listen to audiobooks, and I love science fiction and fantasy, and I'll put my little speaker out here, and I've listened to so many great books. It really makes it a pleasurable experience for me. And whether that's music or a podcast or an audiobook, especially if you want to find out what happens in the next chapter. Another thing about me, my friends and family know this about me, is I love scents, fragrances. And I know this is going to sound weird, but one of the things I like to do is spritz some of my favorite perfume on right before I paint. And I love, especially in the summer, I love citrusy bursts of lemon, lime, bergamot. Those are my favorite. In the summer, I love lemony drinks. I'll make like a lemon lime spritzer with my favorite sparkling waters. And then I just set myself up and paint. When you do all of these things for yourself, you're self-soothing, and self-soothing can help create neural pathways much faster. The way that you hold your brush can be a really interesting experiment. Hold your brush in your left hand so that you don't have as much control. If you feel like your critical brain is telling you what to do and that you should stop, or this doesn't look good, use your other hand. Hold the brush in a way. Have you ever watched a kid hold a pencil or a brush? They can hold them like this, like this. I also like to use lots of different kinds of brushes with different textures. I love calligraphy brushes because they hold a lot of paint. They have natural animal hair, and I love hog's hair bristle brushes. You can get some really inexpensive hog hair bristles. This is a very rough texture. It creates a very rough paint stroke. And then there's also, big soft brushes. There's synthetic brushes with a fine tip, and you can smash the brushes. You can smash brushes. You can use them very delicately. I also like to use catalyst tools where I can spread the paint. I love to transfer materials because you have total lack of control. You don't really know what's going to happen, where you put paint on something and then you transfer it down onto your substrate. And I also have a big bucket of weird objects. Like I have a potato masher. I have some kind of other kitchen tools. This is a tire gauge. I have 3 sizes of this where you can just roll it across a surface. I have no idea what they do, except they make really cool patterns. I mean, you really don't have a lot of control when you use those, and I think that's really helps with the play. So, a friend of mine was like, "Oh, you should use the bottom of this slipper as a transfer," and I do. It's fun. Nail brushes to scrape paint. I have this styrofoam block that I got from packaging, and I just use it to spread paint. I have this crusty, dirty sponge that I use to spread paint. I love transferring, so this is stamp making material, and I just will paint on it, and then I'll slap that down on the paper or whatever I'm painting on. Packaging, this was from these like mini tarts that I got, and I'll put paint on the bottom and I'll create textures that way. Paper towel rolls, or I just make little circles with those. Toe separator. I have an avocado net. So I love to paint on corrugated cardboard and transfer that way. Since I love transferring, I've been using the jelly plate. This thing is a great transfer tool. I've been using this a lot lately, as you can see. So already you can see that I'm sort of distracting myself with a lot of stuff, right? So you've got your space set up, it's clean, it's organized, you have all your favorite tools out, your favorite color paints. You're hydrated, you've got something fun playing, you've got some nice quiet time, whether it's 10 minutes or an hour. And if nothing else, doesn't that sound like you've set yourself up for the most fabulous play session?